So if you're wanting to change the actual videos, it's all generated by Vimeo. And I've set up the framework on the back end to be able to update. So, for example, the way you access the videos is you go to work, you go to all items, and you can see the individual videos that have been raised and added. So, all these videos here, they each have a new, a sort of a new page created. And if you're wanting to add more, you just simply go add new. Loading. And all you do is add in the title of the video here. You'd go down to work field, and this information here is really important because it will extract the video ID from the Vimeo video ID from Vimeo. So it's important that you put the correct ID in here: client name, director name, production company, agency, and so forth. And then you'd simply put in the categories of which it relates to. So you'd check that if it relates to all, and then you'd go publish. So without actually doing one, I'll show you a completed one so you'll see what I mean. I mean, it's super easy. The hard work has been done by setting up the actual framework. So it's just a matter of editing the existing videos if you wanted to take one down or you wanted to make some changes to it. You might have a client that already has a video and you've done updated work for them. So you'd simply put in a new video ID. It's all about the Vimeo video IDs. So, for example, let's go into Generation Yes, the explainer video. It's in the design and animation category. As you can see here, we just put in the title, what it is, an infographic animation. The category it sits in is design and animation. The cover image goes here, and then we simply have all the data here. So the Vimeo video ID, the name, the director name, obviously you're the production company, and the agency name, so forth. And all you do again is go update and preview changes so you can see, or as I recommended before, having a live site open so you can see your changes as you go, which really prevents any kind of errors from taking place because you're not making changes to the site and have no idea where the change has been made and then make adjustments accordingly. So it's important that you do have a live site open, a live window open, so you can see the changes as you go. So that's changing your work. Where else? I'll show you some of these options down on the left-hand side here. Here are your plugins. Now, if you're not familiar with plugins, I'm sure that you are, but if you're not, what they are is little snippets of code that are designed by developers and put out to a marketplace that make your life easier. You've got here the simple Vimeo shortcode, which enables, as it says, enables Vimeo videos to your site, and which means that the video, it can communicate with Vimeo according to the video ID as you update it. So as you update it in Vimeo, your website speaks to your Vimeo platform and account so that they communicate with each other. Because otherwise, if this wasn't activated, then it would mean that doesn't matter what kind of Vimeo ID you put in on the back end here, if this isn't working, then it's not going to work. It's not going to be connected to your Vimeo site. So the way plugins work is that little snippets of code, I would recommend, not adding too many plugins to your website. It's very easy to get carried away and, be tempted to add more, but it can slow the site down. It can add to the bulk of the site. I've kept it nice and lean just to be able to do what it's meant to do. When you're adding lots of code, it conflicts with other code on the site, and so what it means is you can have your site crash and other parts of your site not work properly because you've added 2 bits of code. yeah, so I've added everything that you need. You know, I'm very careful with what I've added, and only put on what you actually need. So I wouldn't worry about this kind of notification here because you won't really be using Visual Composer. What happens is with plugins that the original developer will bring out a new version, much like you update your phone or computer and laptop and so forth. There's always updates. And so what you want to ensure is that you keep the backend updated and yeah, and if it says this type of notification here, all you do is update now. But yeah, you just have to be careful when you're updating these plugins because they can conflict with each other, as I've mentioned, even if you've got a small amount. You just want to make sure that you've just got a couple of key plugins on there. If something starts to not work, it could actually be because your plugins aren't updated. So, and then all you have to do is come on here and just simply press update now, and it would make sure that yeah, that piece of code is refreshed and yeah, working properly. So that's that. I mean, Backup Buddy is where your site is backed up, and it is a really, really great plugin to have because if something happens with your site, you get hacked into, which I'm sure that won't happen, but it means that you have a way to back up your site that's external from your actual website. So somebody hacks into your site and they take over, which it can happen. If that happens, you will have a backup of your website third party to that so that you really are able to grab that database, grab your backup, and then just put it on your domain again. So really it's important to have Backup Buddy on your site, and just to ensure that you have that kind of security. So that's Backup Buddy. I've also put WordPress Fastest Cache, which is just a way of making sure that your site loads really quickly, which for video is something that's obviously really important, that the site is fast loading, and you know, not one thing can make your site load quickly. That's just not possible. It's a number of things, so you know, it can depend on your hosting and who you're with. You know, how strong their server is, what your memory's like, which all comes down to your hosting. There's lots of things that we can add to the site to ensure that it loads quicker, and this is one of them, WordPress Fastest Cache. So what it means is that if somebody's come onto your site before, it won't load the whole website again. It will remember components that they've previously loaded and store a cache in their cookies. So it's all getting a bit technical, but it just means it's a way of speeding up your website, because the number of users having to load your website and reach your server is reduced. So it's just handy to have on. Yeah, I would keep it on if I was you because it just means that you've got a pretty fast loading site. Yeah, so we'll go over to forms, and this is inquiry forms. So this is dictated by Gravity Forms. And if you're wanting to make new inquiry forms from your website, it's important that you go here. And you can create a new form by just going add new and then creating the form and then getting the shortcode and putting it on the page that you like. So let's just say you're wanting to add more options on the form, another field, maybe your phone number, maybe another email address, whatever it is, maybe company. All you do is, at the moment we've got name, email and message. I've just noticed that the name isn't a required field. That needs to be required. So we'll go update. Yeah, you just want to make sure that you go here when you're adding things, and you can add a drop down, little radio buttons. You can add checkboxes. You can add all kinds of things to just add to this form, or you might want to keep it nice and simple, as we've got right here. So anything that you do, you just click and drag like that. If you wanted to have a drop down, for example, maybe, how did they find you? That's always good to know. And all you do is add your choices in here. I'll just remove that now so that, yeah. And also make sure that you update each time, very important. And yeah, so that's your contact form. If you're wanting to add a user to the site, we'll press leave because we're not going to make any changes. If you're wanting to add a user to the site, you simply go here. As you can see, we've got here 3 different usernames and we're all admin. You might want to add a user that is not an admin, maybe a contributor, which just means the level of access that they have. Yeah, you might want to add, say, a subscriber, which is a really low level access. So let's just say you had an assistant and you wanted your assistant to upload, say, videos, but you didn't want them touching or having, admin access means they could just take over the site and kick you off. Just a bit of protection that WordPress gives you levels of access. Admin being the highest and subscriber being the lowest. SEO editor and manager don't really relate to anything except your SEO, but anyway, subscriber is the lowest. So I would consider, just adding new, all you do is fill in this part here. So username, email, first name, last name, don't worry about website, and then show password. And once you've showed password, you want to make a note of that somewhere in your files so that you know, say, Joe Blogs that you've created a profile for, you know their username, and then you know their password. You just go add new user. When you put in email, it will send them directly a username and password. So it's kind of, really, really easy to set up. So that is creating new users. Yeah, because you don't want to go giving out your admin access. That's not advisable. Always set them up, a profile in here. I think I've covered just all the key elements that you need. If you're going into theme options, I wouldn't really touch any of this because this is all my design work. And yeah, if you start playing around with this and you're not familiar with web design, it can really go south quite quickly. So yeah, you just want to make sure that you know that, there's certain elements here that if you needed to access, or if you have another developer working on the site and they want to know where to go to access certain components, it is in theme options here. So, it's all pretty self-explanatory, top bar and header, but it's where I've custom designed your site so that you can access elements and, you know it's there if you need it. All right, well, I hope this has helped. I hope this has been really useful, and you now can, you're familiar with your site. It will just take spending some time on there just to navigate your way around the site and get to know it, and you'll discover things for yourself. But if you're ever unsure, let me know. And remember that anything that you do, you can always reverse. So you can just go back number of revisions and you can just reverse it, because if you do make a mistake, I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't make too many changes at once without watching what you're doing on the front end to make sure that it's done properly. All right, well, I hope this has helped, and I hope you enjoy your new website. Thanks, guys. Bye.